We are learning that President Biden's COVID symptoms are improving. This afternoon, he held a virtual meeting saying that he's, quote, feeling much better.
Let me start by apologizing for my voice. I'm feeling much better than I sound.
NewsNation correspondent Kelly Meyer joins us live from the White House. And Kelly, the White House also held a tense briefing today.
Well, that's right. And we didn't hear too much else from the president there as he continues to recover from COVID-19 here at the White House. The White House continuing to insist that he is improving, saying that he just did an 8-hour workday. They published a list of his meetings while keeping some of the details about his illness from the public. President Biden appearing virtually here at the White House, seen here on a video feed from isolation in the White House residence. Bit of a raspy voice, coughing at one point, having to take a cough drop and giving a thumbs up to reporters. The White House continues to say the president is doing better. They attribute that to the president being fully vaccinated and double boosted and on Paxlovid, the antiviral pill meant to help with his symptoms. And while he's in this high-risk category, the president still has a runny nose, fatigue, and cough. And his highest temperature yet was 99.4 last night. The White House insisting that is in the normal range. His doctor giving him Tylenol to treat it. The president is also using an inhaler as part of his treatment. But there were several questions moments ago on the president's condition and who he has been in contact with. Today, the White House saying 17 people have been identified as close contacts. They say he is being examined by the White House physician. Reporters here asking why the public is not hearing from the White House physician directly.
Yes, you have. You've heard from the letter that is hearing directly from him. We're not playing telephone here. You're hearing directly from the physician. Yes, it is. I mean, that is hearing directly from, in his words. In his words, you are hearing directly from Dr. O'Connor, as I read out.
And the White House press secretary there telling us that no one on the staff has tested positive. That includes the First Lady. They all have tested negative. The president continuing to isolate here for the next 5 days. They tell us he won't be tested again until day 5 and go back to normal life when he is negative.
All right, Kelly Meyer, thank you so much. And meanwhile, the president's chief medical advisor, Dr. Fauci, also took Paxlovid. He revealed that he had a rebound of his COVID symptoms after taking the drug, that in fact it was worse than the original symptoms he experienced. Now, his experience adding to the conversation about this issue, patients who initially feel better after starting the drug, but then have symptoms and sometimes even a positive test come back after finishing those 5 days. To date, cases of so-called Paxlovid rebound have been limited to small studies, some anecdotes shared on social media. So joining us to talk facts about this is Dr. Yalda Safai. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, today, President Biden's doctor said that his Paxlovid treatment is working, that his symptoms are improving. A question for you, is it still worth taking this drug if there's a chance of rebounding with worse symptoms after the initial course?
Okay, this drug is not meant for everybody at this point. The FDA gave authorization for it for a specific population, those over the age of 65 and anybody over the age of 12 that has an underlying condition like cancer, obesity, respiratory problems, diabetes. So it's only really authorized for this population. And the purpose of it is to decrease the chance of the illness progressing to something more severe and hospitalizations. Up until now, it's done a really good job at doing so. About 89% of people who take this drug have it's helped lessen the chance of progressing to a severe illness. So it's doing its job. And yes, there is a chance of rebound COVID, but still the benefits in this case outweigh the cost.
Okay, so Paxlovid really rose to the top in terms of treatment because it can be taken in pill form, it can be taken at home, and as you mentioned, those studies show how effective it can be. Are there any other treatments that are in the works right now?
Sure. There are 2 other authorized treatments. One was authorized back in 2020. It's an IV formulation of remdesivir. The only problem with that is it's because it's IV, it needs to be administered in an emergency room setting, which is not that convenient. There's also another pill formulation that was recently authorized, but by Merck, I believe is the pharmaceutical company that made it, and it was authorized by the FDA. The only problem with that is it's not as effective as this new drug. Only about 30% of patients had reduced symptoms of an illness. So up until this point, this is the best thing we got.
All right, Dr. Safai, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.